Could you please tell something a little bit about yourself?
I'm Steven, so I'm the one that is, I guess, responsible for the Game 2023 event. I'm saying responsible for, not exactly responsible for organizing it, more responsible for causing it, because I've had a lot of help from people at the school here. So I'm a game developer. I have my own company. We're with 10 people in Bornem called Angle Gaming Labs, and we do not just game applications, but all sorts of real-time graphics types of things. So that includes motion capture, it includes things that we've done for VFX. We did cinematic intros for Halo 3, we did some really big movie projects, and so a bit all over the place. And a couple of years ago, of course, for the motion capture software that we wrote, we got into the Fabric IK solver, which was my first exposure to geometric algebra. And then since that, I created my library, which is called Ganja.js, which is the most popular geometric algebra library out there right now. And it sort of got picked up by academia. So at some point I got an email from Professor Dorst from the University of Amsterdam and from Joan from the University of Cambridge, and they were both telling me, oh, we saw your examples and there's some interesting stuff in there, and wouldn't you want to get it written up, and aren't you interested in doing a PhD on the stuff that you've done? And so that's what got me started in the entire academia thing, very late in life, because I'm old. But I have been having so much fun, and for my company, I actually thought at some point it's a great idea if I go over to digital arts and entertainment. I have quite a few employees that come from this school. And I was like, well, the school is getting so good and all the students, they go out to the big companies, so I'm gonna teach them some math because surely they'll love that and then they'll all come work for me. So I got in contact with Ivo. I gave a first lecture here. And that lecture actually got seen by Charles Gunn, who is the inventor of the PGA algebra. And then when he got accepted at SIGGRAPH for a course, he actually asked me to give it because he thought I had done a good job and be better to have a graphics programmer do it instead of a mathematician. And so I gave the talk at SIGGRAPH in 2019, and for that talk, I started the Bivector community because I wanted to give people a place to go to after the talk to find more information. And that sort of blew up. So the talk was super popular, and now we have 1,000 members on that community, and there's people publishing papers and doing things with PGA all the time. In the last GDC conference, there were 3 talks about PGA, which was mind-blowing to me. It was like, whoa, 3, that's a lot. So it's really picking up, and that's good because it's worth it. It's really beautiful and it's really helpful and something that we should all, especially in our sector, we should all know about.
Yeah, it is. GA in general, it's really cool. Like when I first got introduced to it, I was very skeptic because I've obviously just heard about all the normal options that are out there, and it sounds almost too good to be true. But I also just tried your workshop, and it is actually true.
I think what you're seeing there is some people, people that defend GAs are presenting it as some sort of alternative. And I don't think that's really what's going on. I feel people should still learn standard linear algebra, and they should still learn how matrices work and the singular value decomposition. You need to learn all of these things. But there is another half to the picture. And it's amazing that we've been ignoring the second half to the picture. You can't really calculate any new things with geometric algebra. You're calculating the same things, but it's a completely different view. And of course, when you see it is the first time, it is quite amazing. It's quite amazing that we've missed this. And there are problems that are easier in linear algebra and better done in linear algebra. But then there are problems that are better done in geometric algebra, and geometry, the type of geometry that we use as a game developer, is definitely the prime example of where it shines. And so yeah, I think that's the feeling really that makes people be so enthusiastic.
Yeah, for me, because I study game development here, and especially for me, when having worked with all the previous methods, just seeing something like this where you almost write the code like line by line as if you were to think it, it's incredible to see. And that's was one of the questions I was going to, is like you already kind of answered it, but maybe to be a bit more specific within the game industry, is it not possible that it would completely replace the previous methods?
For certain applications, yes. I'm a big fan of, you need to let the problem pick the solution. Everybody who comes in going, oh no, you have to do everything with this or everything with, they just have a limited view. And in some cases, yeah, you know, you get this guy, he has a hammer, he thinks everything is a nail. Well, not everything is a nail. There are other things out there, and it is good to learn about other tools. And this is just one of those tools that is really useful. It's right up there with a hammer. It's just as useful as a hammer. It's a different one, and we've just forgotten about it. The person that invented it died at age 33. So it's William Kingdom Clifford, died at age 33. And it, not just that he died at that point in time, but this was a point in time where Heaviside and Gibbs and Hamilton, they were all doing these discussions whether or not quaternions needed to be used, because quaternions got swept under the rug at that same point in time. Heaviside and Gibbs came in and they said, oh, no, Clifford, forget about that, and Hamilton, forget about that. Everything needs to be a vector, and all you need is a dot product, and then this completely arbitrary invented product that we call the cross product, without any mathematical motivation whatsoever, literally just coefficient expressions. Mathematicians should have disliked it strongly, but they didn't. They picked it up, and the rest got forgotten. And that is actually kind of funny as I tell that story, because quaternions have been saved from their oblivion by Tomb Raider. And that's not even a joke. The Tomb Raider game, when it first came out, it had the quaternion-based camera animation system, and people learned quaternions by reverse engineering the Tomb Raider source code, which is funny, I think. But so this saving something from oblivion, the game industry has done this before. They did it with quaternions. In physics, nobody uses quaternions. In game development, everybody knows what a quaternion is. Every engine has quaternion support. And so I'm hoping that this is going to happen again for geometric algebra. And I think as more and more people learn about it, that is exactly what will happen. And so yes, in the future, it could very well be that there are parts that are going to get completely replaced. There are other parts that shouldn't be replaced, in my opinion. So I hope we find a good balance. Like, for example, if you want everything that deals with partial differential equation and game balances, things like that. I have so many enemies, I spawn in my level so many good guys, these are the paths they can take. What's the stable state of this thing? You know, you put it all in a matrix, you exponentiate the matrix, and it tells you, right? You don't design a game by going, oh, I'm going to put some more monsters, play for 4 hours, there's too many monsters there and too little there. No, you can calculate that type of stuff, but that you do with matrices, and hopefully always. So yeah, that's not one of those places where it would be obvious to switch to geometric algebra. And that's also one of those things that you need to know as a game developer and need to learn as a game developer to get at a better level.